Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry, and it's time tonight to play, at long last, the early access, by no means complete release version of Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon. Now, I'm going to go do a little tweak, because while this chanting is heavily reminding me of Hellblade, it also sounds like I should turn it down about 20%. There we go. Because I am in danger of being overpowered by the rhythmic pounding beat of the voices. Alright. So, Tainted Grail, it's a bit of a franchise by this point. The original Tainted Grail was a board game on Kickstarter. Heavily inspired by Arthurian myth. And while King Arthur Knight's Tale is a game that goes very, very high medieval to late medieval period, which is completely inaccurate for Arthurian myth, which should technically be set in the late Iron Ages before the Dark Ages begin, before the Dark Ages then lead into the medieval period. Tainted Grail does lean heavily into the Dark Ages aspect of Arthurian myth, and rather than clinging as closely to the original stories, it's more telling additional stories in a similar world. And the concept of Tainted Grail is that something very horrible and very wrong has happened in the world. In the original Tainted Grail board game, and don't worry, I'm going to get onto Conquest in a moment, the idea was that something very bad and horrible and wrong has happened. King Arthur and all his knights rode out to try and fix it and set things right, and they failed. They perished. They have failed in their quest. The characters that you would play in the Tainted Grail board game are not the stuff of heroes. They are peasants and common folk trying to set things right because they have no other choice. You know, they're not mighty slayers of beasts or incredibly canny and wise. The gameplay itself has an exploration element with these statues which hold back the mist, the fog, the weirdness in which the strange, chaotic, weird Celtic things occur. Very Ravenloft in some regards with fog. Although you could take that back to the Mabinogion, the famous medieval Welsh epic, when you get to the story of Rhiannon Pryderi, when I think it's Aron or another enchanter spirits away all of the people of Dafydd, so that the Lord of Dafydd is left with nothing but his castle and his immediate family, who even then are slowly taken from him one by one until he confronts the enchanter and forces him to give back everything he has taken. I think it all goes back to the incident of the badger and the bag, which is not a badger, but hey, you go look it up if you want. It's it's an interesting moment in the epic. Right, but so the Kickstarter did so well that the game's creators announced they were going to make a computer game that would use similar gameplay elements. It would be a separate story told in the same world, so it wouldn't follow the story of the computer game. And if you go look back on my channel, I did actually some gameplay videos on an early demo build of that computer game, which utilized the card-based combat that the board game uses. However, after a while, the developers of that computer game decided that they wanted to focus on getting the card-based combat just right and not put as much effort into the story development until the card-based combat was more functional. And a lot of people bought that computer game, and those of us who got the Kickstarter and were told, hey, you get a free copy of the computer game, were like, well, when? All we're getting is this card combat demo at the moment, you know. But lots of people bought it and loved the card combat and told the developers, we want the game to be about this card-based combat. So the developers listened to that, and eventually they said, okay, we'll make, instead of making the Tainted Grail computer game, we will make the Tainted Grail Conquest computer game, which will be just the card-based combat with a little bit of story and world building in there, so you get a feel for the setting. And then we'll do a separate computer game that is a role-playing game focused, and that game eventually became The Fall of Avalon. And a lot of people who had backed the Kickstarter complained and said, well, this isn't what I wanted at all. You've shown us off a demo for this and it looks like Skyrim. Where's the card-based combat and the other stuff that's part of the game? It's telling another story in the same world, and it all feels like part of some grander story. But this isn't what I signed up for. This free product that I got for free. It's not like they went and spent a few £100 on a really gorgeous deluxe top-of-the-range board game just so they could get access to a computer game, which you can buy separately later. That being said, this game has finally gone into early access. A few popular YouTubers were given access to a pre-release build a little while back and showed it off. I don't know if I'll be playing the exact same thing as them, or something similar. And this is a different story. While the Tainted Grail board game has us playing people who are nobodies, less than nobody, the common folk, and the card game has us playing warriors who kill things with cards really effectively. This game, I think, in a nod to every single Elder Scrolls game ever, pretty much, since at least Daggerfall, I'm not sure about Arena, has us starting in a prison cell as a prisoner. I am going to look at options to see if I can understand the controls a little bit. So, show intro videos, absolutely. I haven't seen them before on my screen, apart from maybe in someone else's YouTube video. Tutorials, sure, why not? I haven't done this before. Collect data. If it's useful and helps them make a better game, okay. If I feel like it's an invasion of privacy, I could turn that off. Bug reporting, this seems to be a button that I click. Credits, also a button that I click. And privacy policy. I should probably take a look at that at some point when I'm not on the screen. Right, game, difficulty, normal. Camera sensitivity, I can adjust that if I need to, but I don't know what it is. Field of view. Apparently that's really popular with Total Biscuit and his fans. Full captions on. I might want to turn this off. I suppose I can leave them on for now and see what it's like. Show star on new items. A good way of knowing it's something I haven't interacted with before, just picked up. Invert camera. I am not an airplane pilot. I have not trained to fly aeroplanes. I remember this on BBC Model B computer games in the very early 90s. It was really frustrating. Font size. Font medium. What are the options? Big, huge, small. There's no extra small. So there's an extra large, but not an extra small. HUD scale. Leave it at normal for now, and I can change it if I need to. Screen shake on. I don't know if I'll want to change that. Screen shake sensitivity. Okay, well, fine. Audio, we've already seen these. Looks like there's a decent amount of... Disable audio in background. So if I've got the game shrunk down and I'm looking at something else on my screen, then the game audio will cut out. I like the fact this is an option. I can leave it on if I want, right? So don't disable it, remind me I am playing the game, because it might be easy to forget. So I'm just leaving everything like this for now. I'm probably put master volume up later if I'm not recording, but also I'll listen back to this one and see how my voice volume is going. Video, graphics preset, high, ultra, medium, low, no extremely low, right. So I'll go with the high as detected. Don't know if my computer can handle ultra. Full screen borderless, windowed, full screen. Here we go, full screen, it's fine. That is the size of my computer screen as of about a year or two ago. It used to be much smaller than that. General what? Okay. View distance. Anti-aliasing. Tar. Fog quality medium. There will apparently be lots of fog. SSAO, I don't know what this means. It might be useful to have a little bit of pop-up information on some of these. Motion blur on. I'm not sure I'm a big fan of motion blur. It seemed vaguely cool when the tiger jumped out of the pit and tried to claw someone in Gladiator about 20-25 years ago, and that was about it. So I may very well turn that off. Especially, I don't generally get motion sickness, but this might not be good for people watching. If you do watch this and you don't like the motion blur, let me know and I'll just turn it off if I do another episode. DOF, depth of field, I believe. VSync, vertical synchronizing. Target FPS. Okay, for a moment there, I thought it was like the thing the mouse cursor's over, which is your target, will slow down to it. No, I think this is the frames per second it will aim for, and this can be adjusted up or down. Vegetation high, yes please, I like vegetables. Controls. Jump is space. Walk is caps lock. So far, so Skyrim. Sprint is shift, again Skyrim controls. Crouch is controls, Skyrim. Loadout 1, 2, 3, 4 and number pad over on the right hand side. So do I just not use the mouse at all? Is this like Severance, where I treat the entire keyboard as a massive controller and have both hands on the keyboard at all times pretty much? Or are these just weird and I should maybe rebind them? Dash is alt. So we have walk, sprint and dash. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is dash? That's... Wait. Severance was left alt to attack, left control to dodge or block, wasn't it? I can't remember which. Interact is E. Accept is also E. Inventory is I. Map is M. M for map, obviously. Show quest tracker is V. Why V? Vocabulary? I don't know. Skill tree is P. P for perks, maybe? I'm trying to find a way of remembering these. Quest log is T. T for tome. Tree, I guess. Read is J. So read is not interacting with something that is written. Toggle weapon is R, that's Skyrim. Sort items is F. Okay, that's not Skyrim. Filter items is R. Why? Huh. Quick use wheel is Q. That's Skyrim. Character sheet is Tab. And I like the fact the inventory and character sheet are separate. Pause is escape. I'm not seeing any directional controls. How do I turn left or right or back up a little bit to try and dodge an attack? I don't know. I hope that I will be informed of this in the gameplay, because... So, is caps lock how I walk forwards? I don't know. You have unapplied setting. No, I don't. I didn't change anything. Oh, does it only... Well, what on earth did I change? I turned something off and back on again. Let's get a start and see how things go. The Four Dwellers can create things from weirdness with the power of their will. The Four Dwellers are the large, free or four-armed creatures that we will frequently see depicted in the statues. These look like zombie children, turned to stone, with glowing eyes. Their eyes lit up like little candles. And there we see some kind of sacrificed corpse as part of... What would I call that? It's kind of like a totem? A wooden totem, maybe? King Arthur and his subjects came to Avalon many years ago, escaping the plague ravaging the homelands, the Red Death. The Red Death being the second or third of the 3 or 4 campaigns for the board game. I have a suspicion, because the chapters of the board game are played out of sequence with weird time travelling stuff, I have a suspicion this could be a prequel based on something that may come up later on in the game. For now, the developers say we got access to the game's first area, which they reckon will give us 10 to 15 hours of gameplay. So hey, let's have at it.
The all-consuming Red Death. 600 years ago, King Arthur led the Great Escape from the homelands, where our kingdoms were ravaged by the plague. Leading people to Avalon, he started the Age of Conquest and took the island from the Four Dwellers. Using the mysterious powers of Menhirs, together with Merlin, they cleansed the land of the wyrdness, a primordial force of chaos and possibility. But now, long after the death of the king, Camelot is in shambles as Avalon fractures into chaos. Old legends are gone, and the wyrdness is creeping back into our lands. The bleeding heart of the plague has started beating once more. And the Red Death has returned.
Man on the horse there. I'll speak of him in a bit.
Asylum, an order of the Red Priests, are desperate to stop it. By any means necessary. Rotting in one of their cells is a stranger who might bring a spark of change to this cursed island stuck in everlasting autumn.
So the Red Priests in the Asylum, they're part of the board game. The man on the horse is a character from the board game who is a knight. Well, almost a knight, like a sort of low-ranking knight, but he has the plague. He's like a leprosy. We have some presets. We have character creation. That'd be fun. We got boys and girls. I don't know what I fancy here. What's this? Okay, so I can just change it around a bit. Body condition normal, muscular, normal. Okay, just normal and muscular. So it's not like there's some kind of diseased body condition that any of these could have. Let's see. Okay, so that's faces. Beautiful, long, flowing hair. Oh, we can turn him around as well. Lovely. That is a lot of exposed scalp there. Hair looks a bit dodgy with that model. Ooh, that is very modern Dragon Age looking. I don't like the fact that we can see his head through the hair for many of these. He could be a punk if he really wanted to. I don't particularly feel like a... Oh, that looks almost like a sort of oriental top knot. Ponytail down the back and punky ponytail. That very school bully 1990s. You know who you are. I wonder if these are gender restricted, because that looks more feminine. Let's find out. No, they don't seem to be. It seems to be the very similar selection. Again, with the head sort of... I wonder... The thing is, we don't have a third-person view button, so outside of cutscenes, we're not going to see the character very often. I mean, who looks like... Oh, my neck. Ah, okay, these are gender restricted. Hey, you. What awesome facial hair options do you have? Okay, so thicker moustache, short, not quite connecting on the sides. Look, I'm going to just presume none of this is final because this is early access after all. Ooh, okay, so we got the sort of Dark Ages Scandinavian walrus moustache, well, also a bit Celtic. But with short stubble that may have once been a beard at one point. Maybe he's growing it back again. Straight moustache. Or That is not quite a handlebar moustache. It's like lamb chop sideburns and the... It's not handlebar moustache, not a walrus moustache. Handlebar moustache goes up at the ends, doesn't it? And goes into the sideburns. Right, so... handlebar moustache is like a moustache that goes down into lamb chop sideburns and is shaved at the front. This, the tips of the moustache are longer and straighter. Right, he shaved off his moustache, but couldn't be bothered to finish shaving the rest of his stubble. As I mean serious business, I do. Gonna come rip your face off. With a tractor. And I smoke my pipe while I look at you shit your fucking pants. Well, that's a great start, isn't it? Oh, we get difficulty normal and a name. Alright, fine. I don't know. Who looks like they've been in a prison cell very long? Oh. Oh, okay. That shadow down there looked like there was a bulge on the front of the pants and I had to rotate to check. I was like, wait a minute, what is this, a rugby player? I kind of like this one as a general overall. Let's change that skin tone though. What is it? It would be nice to have a smaller highlight around the edge of whichever skin tone is currently selected. I think this one might be. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's that. So let's go a little darker. From being tanned, staying out of it. Does this mean we have the plague? Or does it mean that we're just being kept here for research and studied and tortured and tormented? Alright, what do we got here? Okay, so here we do have a definite edge highlighting on this box. Here for the skin, we don't, and that would be nice to have in there. Let's see then. Okay, pointy nose. Oh wow, that is a really pointy nose. Okay, must rotate. That's a very... She looks like she's gonna start calling some enemies goat fuckers in Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's the nose, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, that's pretty serious and intense. Is that a bit of makeup around the eyes? Egyptian inspired wing eyeliner. The sunken bags under the eyes do make her look like she hasn't slept for days. Could be good for a prisoner. Oh, goodness. So I'm not just seeing wrinkles here. I'm seeing something that could be a scar. Wait, are these like... Are these variations? Right, so we get this one. Progresses to this one. So here the cheeks fill out. No, the cheekbones widen, the cheeks become more gaunt, and the nose becomes more of a Roman nose, and that one's more convex rather than concave. So here we have like this face, relatively rounder, stronger looking peasant stock. Then here we get gaunter cheeks, marks around the eyes. The nose becomes shorter, I think. Yeah, less of a ski run on this second one. Ah! Okay, that's interesting. So these cheeks hollow around towards the back, but it becomes more prominent around the mouth area. This one looks older, but quite similar to this. And then here we have... Okay. Oh, woo. Okay, very prominent cheekbones. I kind of like it, but it has issues with that hair model. And it means these could be strands of hair rather than scars. This one is... Okay, so if we look at it as a variation of this one. So the eyes have come lower, the eyebrows are less arched. The nose is shorter. The jawline angle has changed. Interesting. And then this one, if we... is it? Okay, so corners of the jaw is generally lower and goes up again. Kind of like this one is sticking with it for now, I think. Maybe the women could get like war paint or something. I don't know, the men should probably have that too. Right. If we have some fun with these. I see a diagonal mark in the corner here showing that this is currently selected. If we go back to here, there we are. I see that now. I didn't see that before. Right. So she's been kept in a cell and imprisoned against her will and experimented on in the name of trying to find a cure for this disease. I see a bit of like very short stubble type hair there. It's not part of this hair model, it's part of the scalp texture underneath. This here is where they've cut off the plait. Maybe it got in the way when they were like slicing open her collarbone to do some kind of experiments or something. This one, look, it's a bit wilder. She's able to let her hair down because they just don't care about it. They're just like, yeah, look, it is what it is. It's just part of the test subject. I mean, this is definitely like they cut off all her hair to dehumanize her and make her feel weak and pathetic and not want to struggle and fight back and escape or anything. This doesn't look like something her captors did to herself. This looks like a self-inflicted choice. However, at the back here we have hair going up towards a point where it all gathers and then just stops. So it's basically this hair model with the ponytail removed, but they haven't made this hair just grow out a bit or grow down. You know, it just, the fact that the hair is bent up as if it's trying to be tied up, I would suggest this model gets a few little tweaks. And we get this bun with this slightly transparent, it's not a bun actually, it's like a it's a little ponytail, but she's tied the tip of the ponytail in with the base to kind of stop it flopping about too much, and then here we get the big ponytail. Looking at these hair textures, I'd say they're not final, but that's cool. So she started with this. I kind of like the narrative I created that they cut off the plait because it was just getting in the way. She's used to just having her hair like pulled over that way, that's like behind that ear, but she could be a bit grumpy and defiant about that. Sure, let's go with that. And she doesn't have a beard because they wouldn't let her, and she's not that German farmer. Let me see, what kind of good Celtic name? Pryderi's wife, Kigva. Sure, we'll go with Kigva. Why not? There we go. Normal difficulty, because I've got no idea how good I'm going to be at this with these controls. Let's go. It occurred to me that the controls we could configure might not be the full set of controls, and there may be other controls we cannot configure, right? And that's why they weren't available in the options menu. Like, I didn't see an attack option, I didn't see a block option or anything like that. Are you sure you want to play as this character? Well, so far yes, but I may make another later on.
Rise and shine, rise and shine. Yes, it's me again. And I hope this time you'll cooperate without me needing to repeatedly hit you in the face, eh?
Oh, that can't be good. Let's see if there are hidden controls so WASD movement works even though it wasn't available in the option menu. Obviously, we just want to walk. We don't want to run around the prison cell. What's this? What's this? The 7 commandments. Not 10, just 7. We have acquired the 7 commandments. We did not get to read them. They just disappeared into our inventory. Well then.
Look, we just have to get this over and done with. Unless you want a visit from someone upstairs. And trust me, you don't. Just like before, no food until we're done here. And the moment you start getting on my nerves, we're going back to my tried and tested fists. So, tell me, what were you doing in the forest when the Red Shields caught you?
He has a very soft voice for a thug. He's trying to make it sound harder, but he does sound soft and cultured, so there could be something interesting about his background. I was on my way to enlist in the army. Now, I don't think that's the case. Hunting, avoiding the city guards, trying to sell some goods. I was looking for an ancient worship site. That makes sense, right? I did say she looked like decent peasant stock. No, that was the 2 heads over to the left, wasn't it? But no, a little spirituality. Something seeking meaning in this strange, weird, twisted world that has gone crazy.
Yeah, you look like one of those half-starved druids who survived the Charred Conclave. We've picked almost all of you up from the forest by now, so there aren't many of you crooks left out there. So, you're a tree hugger then?
I wonder if the Charred Conclave is something to do with that incident in Wales where the Roman army, where a group of druids stood on an island in a forest soaked with oil and waited for Romans to come in and set fire to the thing and burnt the Romans down with them. Yes, I study healing magic, or no, I'd rather burn that tree down. I'd rather burn that tree down, not burn that tree down, burn that tree down. This is rather extreme, and healing magic could be very useful.
So that's why I keep punching you, yet you look suspiciously healthy. We'll make more of a challenge for you soon enough.
And it doesn't need to be true.
That was easier than I expected. Now, unfortunately, we'll have to stop.
I always found it puzzling that these people won't bathe. You, I understand, you're literally rotting in this damned cell, but them, there's just no excuse for the stench. There they are, finally. I know, you have a million questions forming in your head, but they'll have to wait. One of these keys will open your cell. When you get out, head left. I'll scout ahead.
So Cararok is a good Celtic name. Right, I have to... Great Escape, Mysterious Knight, Tomit. That wasn't a knight. Let's open the inventory, as we were instructed to do. She's been suffering in this jail cell for a long time. Bag. So we have the 7 commandments. First came the prophet, then the word. The word is sacred. The Pope, his cardinals, and his priests receive the word. The word is the way. So yes, this would be... If this was Earth, this would be papal Christianity, because Martin Luther, the German who started the Protestant movement, not Martin Luther King, the American civil rights activist, and King Henry VIII hadn't got together and started Protestantism and the Church of England just yet. We are all brothers and sisters starving for the word. The word is sustenance. Together in holy suffering we walk the pilgrim's path. The word is our strength. We repent by facing the trial of the plague. The word is our cure. The priests clad in red guide us towards grace. The word is salvation. There are no other sanctities. Only the prophet's word and the will of the Red Church. Do not doubt your faith, and you will be rewarded. That last one was very, I am the one God, there is no other God but me. And then the Muslims saying, yeah, but we got the updated version, so really you should forget everything he said before and just listen to R1. And no other updates after this update are legit and legal, so we will ignore all the ones that come after and say that the one that came before us still doesn't count. Yeah, a little bit odd that. Do not doubt your faith. So this is very much just trust everything the priests teach you, trust everything. And the Red Faith seems to be at odds with the Druids. Now in the board game, I remember one of the Druids, the playable Druid, is a drug addict. And he can gain valuable information from coming to this asylum where the Red Monks are trying to cure the plague. I don't think they tried to imprison him. But I was going to say, yeah, the board game is very... I must have mentioned this already. Did I forget? The board game is very much a narrative experience, similar to the Skyrim board game, where you will encounter events and a flowing narrative as you play. So, Nature's Caress is a magic buff instant healing spell. So what, I would equip this or use it? Okay, it can be equipped. Healing value 20 hit points. I don't know where that's gone. It's a weapon. Can I slide it across to the other hand? No. No, 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 go away. Look, shoot. Bugger off. All I wanted to do was see if I could equip it in the other slot, and I can't, apparently. I don't know how I would access that. And, of course, a jail key. We have everything, weapons, readable, and quest items. Speaking of which, we have a quest called The Great Escape. Nothing to do with Steve McQueen, or a motorbike, or a barbed wire fence. The mysterious stranger. Look, he may have been a knight, just disguised. Told me to find him deep within this dungeon. This is definitely the build that a few popular YouTubers had access to a month or two ago. And there wasn't much of the character visibility here. Just, you know, they had an earlier build where they just all had the same character, I think, and stuff like that. Speaking of character, we have attributes: strength, dexterity, spirituality, perception, endurance, and practicality. We have no attribute points, no skill points. Why are these? Ah, so here we get skill trees for each ability score. So, strength enhances damage dealt in close combat, improves armor, and reduces stamina costs for attacks and blocking. Dexterity increases attack speed, range damage, and resistance to status effects, decreases stamina cost for dashing and shooting arrows. Spirituality amplifies your maximum mana, mana regeneration, magic armor, and spell power. And we may want to lean into this for at least a point or two early on, because we did indicate a spiritual element to this character's background. Perception boosts your critical damage chance, reduces noise when sneaking, and increases success rate for lockpicking. I have a distinct feeling this is not going to be a very Elder Scrolls learn by doing, but that we'll gain experience points which will turn into attributes and skill points over time. Endurance improves your health, stamina, and carrying capacity. We could definitely do with a bit more of that. Look, she's probably a bit malnourished being in this prison cell for too long. And this chest binding, what is she? That looks a bit tight and uncomfortable. These are being squashed in very closely together, and possibly even flattened a little bit, although they just might not be that prominent. It would be nice to get her some nicer gear, like the stuff the bloke outside the door who's been beating her senseless for days, or weeks, maybe even months, is wearing. Practicality improves your chances of finding more loot, Lowers store prices and boosts your crafting abilities. I like the idea of crafting abilities, which are probably not currently in the game. Now, as this is an early access, a little more than a demo, they might want to give us slightly more attribute and skill points to play with so that we can experiment with different builds and different ways of playing. But I imagine that won't be the case, and they'll keep it... Yeah, we got a level here, see. Okay. Can I put my spell up? Look at the evil claw there in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen for that spell hand. My God, that looks hideous. Right. Is there a way we can... Yes, there is. And now it's on the other side. And it's not an evil claw. So that icon merely indicated a main weapon. And, okay, that hand. We have an incredibly prominent base of the thumb. And then the palm just squishes away there. You see this massive gap. With the four fingers. It's like an extreme exaggerated perspective on the hand. Ah, and we can put it away. We can't get it out again. What's going on? Okay, that's just weird. Okay. I'll have to look into that. Perhaps the cell door should have just opened inwards so it wouldn't interfere with the body so much. Having the cell door open out of the cell means we can't particularly hide behind it. So that was probably a good thing. I can sprint. I don't want to sprint. I want to take the beggar's fare. Because he did bring food to offer me after all. Okay, that is... So there's a bottle of mead. A wooden club. A lot. Right. Here's the question. We hate this man. Right? He's been beating and mistreating us for goodness knows how long. And we want to get out of here. Do we really want to wear his garments? Okay, so maybe the claw is just to do with us being infected or something. Control sprint, light attack. Wait. Heavy is left click and middle mouse button? Yes, it is. That is... Please tell me I'll be able to configure that in the future. Otherwise I'll never remember. And block is... middle mouse button. Wait. Block is down. Nope. Block is now just right click. That was a healing spell again. Right. Hide weapon is R. How do I get it out again? Okay, now that works. So stripping him of his garments would be the final indignity. A little bit of revenge upon him for being so horrible to us. And I might not come across other means of protection very soon. Okay. Linen trousers. These are clearly not pants. Nor are they pantaloons. She now... Oh, look at that. There's even a little knee guard on one of them. On one of the legs. There are no... Okay, yes. Some bandages for the hands. Bandages? Okay, fine. No. Oh, those are forearms. Alright. Boots? Sure. Worn leather boots would be nice to... Okay, those are quite wide, high up. Relatively short and modern fitting on the toes. Medieval shoes with the long, particularly long, very long-toed medieval shoes. are actually, they serve a purpose, a bit like cat's whiskers, where you're feeling ahead of you to feel for things that'll get in the way of you walking, rather than just looking down and watching where you're going. Yep, we get a bit of protection there. Do we get anything here? No. Okay, she's got a leather hood to cover the ruin of her hair after what they've done to her. Now she can look like a proper street thug out to collect debts from some varmints. Hey. Or you! Boss says I gotta kick your fucking teeth in if you don't give me the money. In it! Oh, we get loadout 1, loadout 2, 3 and 4. I see. So what I could do, rather sneakily, is loadout 2. I can't put the weapon... Okay, no. No, back. So, for loadout 2 I can't... So what the hell is block then? Oh, I think I know. Right, so if we just change this to just the club, right? And go to loadout 2. Number pad 2 does nothing, by the way, so I can't... Okay, quick use with Q. So then can I block? I can then block if I'm not healing. Got it. Sprint is shift, but why would I want to shift? Show objective V. Why did you stop showing it? Right, so obviously I want to walk. There is a person in that cell. They may be dead. There's also some pieces of paper on the table with something on them. Now, the man who broke me out and told me to meet him later went this way. So I should go this way. Which means, because it's a computer game, I should completely go in the opposite direction. Okay, unlock using the jail key. Not all of these require lockpicks. So we got a broken chair. No signs of no leather straps or anything indicating someone was restrained to the chair. This liquid has flown over this broken board. Even though the broken board is over the top of the groove the liquid is in. So it looks like some kind of tar or pitch, but basically it's been here for a long time. And it's very thin here. So it may be trickling away down that grating. These chains do not anchor to the wall very well. They have no attachment, they just disappear into it. These manacles. There should be like some kind of thing anchoring them to the wall. Like a kind of bolt that goes in. This pipe, these chains may be related to that pipe. That's not a pipe, is it? I think it's just part of the... Whoa! We're flying. We're flying. What happened? And we can sneak like a Khajiit. Although there are no Khajiit in this game. Ah, another copy of the 7 Commandments. Excellent. Well, I'll take that too. Look, I might be able to... I'll take the bucket as well. Sod it. I'm not going to be stupid and put it on my head like an idiot. But it may serve a purpose. No, it's just a pail. Isn't a bucket made of wood and a pail made of metal? Like a pail is a bucket that is made of metal or tin. So mead, heal 1 mana. We don't have an need just yet. Beggar's Fare, consumable. Yeah, great. Look, it's got a monetary value. We might just be able to do something decent with it. You, we cannot free. We'll need to try and find some kind of... Wait. Because I saw something as I moved away. Oh! That's gone away again. So it doesn't stay on the screen for long. That's a temporary show. So the key opens all the doors on this side. And the one on ours. One moment. Here we do see these chains attached to the wall very well. That's quite nice. I like that better. It's much more immersive. There's not a lot. I have a feeling that the Red Priest can't place a copy of the 7 Commandments in every single jail cell along this corridor. They give it to the prisoners to read. Yeah, that's not pretty. I think we all know what's been going on in here. If I collect them up, I gather them up. Look, this is revenge, right? I should not carry the word of the Red Priests, because it is an anathema to my beliefs. But, however, in this case... Oh god, Red Priest, very Catholic, I just realised. No, but it's like, if I'm... This is petty vindictiveness, right? If I take these books away, they have to put new copies in the cells. For any new prisoners they can... Oh wow, I just can't interact with this one at all. Okay. And I would like to get in there at some point. But I sense that may not be happening just yet. What lies around this corner? Nothing very serious yet. This looks like a very nice place to be, full of wonderful equipment, and it requires a special key that we don't have. It's so nice of the game to tell us that. And it probably lies down this hallway. Those cobwebs looked suspiciously like a sort of ghostly figure inhabiting the cage. Some kind of reminder of its former occupants. So that's almost like a gibbet cage, but it's not, because it's not hanging. There must be someone around here who had a chance of noticing me. I'm going to go back around the corner because I have a sneaking suspicion that I am required elsewhere. Sorry everyone, duty calls. I'm gonna pause recording here and be back in a bit. Alright, I'm back. Duty is done. Before continuing, I'd like to take a look at something. Because when I was around the corner there sneaking, I saw a notification that some kind of sneaky skill had been upgraded from a 10 to an 11. And obviously there is no such thing here. It took me a while to find it. It was here, on a screen called Status. I'm just gonna quickly lose audio there as I check I am recording. All looks good. So we have one-handed, two-handed, blocking, athletics. Light armor is 13 instead of 10. I suspect that our conversation with the prison warden at the start of the game preset a few skill values. So we've got light armor, medium armor, heavy armor. Slight increases the percentage of damage blocked by appropriate armor type. Athletics increases movement speed. This very much feels like an Elder Scrolls style of set of skills. Active effects, without useful information to have, currently nothing obviously. Sneak has indeed risen from a 10 to an 11. Magic at a 19, which is impressive. Alchemy at a 13. So crafting potions and cooked meals, handcrafting armors and weapons. Okay, great. Now, I have a sneaky suspicion that on the options menu, when I looked at controls, the number pad 1, 2, 3, 4 were not working for the what's it selection. Where are we? So we've got inventory, map, quest tracker, skill tree is P, right? I suspect that the P key, I am tapping it now, does nothing. I do not know if this is P, or possibly these individual skill tabs related to ability scores RP. It's a little odd. It is entirely possible that some controls are currently disabled so that I can, you know, get tutorials on them popping up. Okay, C does not work for continuous forward movement. It's not pure Skyrim controls. As that heavy attack control of left click and middle mouse button simultaneously is just painful. I mean, at this point I might as well just sneak up and down this hallway trying to improve the skill, but I'm not going to do that. And I think from what I've seen, we do need to heavy attack and light attack in sort of rhythms. And okay, I'm using the wall to shield myself here, but it's not shielding me from that door over there very much at all. So I'm going to look down this hallway, there's nobody there, and then I'm going to scurry over to here and let the angle of these walls shield me from those doors. Okay, there's been some kind of horrific torture and experiments going on in there. Will you stop giving me sneak skill points? They're going up way too quickly, and I hope that slows down later on. I mean, I'm suspecting that maybe it just means that at this low early level, a skill value of 10 will increase rather rapidly, whatever skill it is and how it's used. These are all lockpick rooms. We don't have any lockpicks, and yet we may find some. In fact, the fact that we're encountering so many doors that require lockpicks strongly leads me to believe I should have gone and looked down the other end of the corridor. What does this say? To Brother Sefton. Venerable Brother Sefton, I would like to remind you of what I have mentioned numerous times before, namely that the alchemy station should be cleaned after each use, especially when you are so careless with caustic and toxic substances. So venerable means he's very old, and worthy of veneration, of respect. So it could just mean that he's rather high ranking, or it could just mean he's an old codger who keeps forgetting these things, and this is a heavy reminder for him. I also recommend that you refresh your elementary knowledge about the ingredients of a healing concoction. Those are alcohol and sage, not poisonous plants and hearts. If this kind of negligence continues, I will be forced to ask Father Vaughan to revoke your privilege to use the laboratory. May the word of the prophet be your grace, Brother Aaron. I'm going to leave this note here for Brother Sefton to find every time he comes to this door, so that he does remember how to make healing potions well and doesn't poison his fellow brothers here in the monastery. Well, it's more of an asylum, really. And these others are some rather nasty monks, up to no good. I'm not going to try and... Oh, I need a key to get in there anyway. Well, in that case, I could try sneaking down there to the end of that hall, where there may be some kind of guard waiting for me. Or I could sneak back along this way and experience the other end of the hall. I notice I'm not getting experience for anymore. Or am I? Seems to be stuck on 14 now, which is good enough. These proficiency increases don't seem to be contributing to any sort of level progress, which is interesting. I should probably speed up a little bit. No, I should... Come on. Slow down when you're sneaking. Don't rush it. Do not rush it. And there we go. It's around this point in the corridor, just near this cage, we get frequent skill updates, and also just down there. Is it some trigger on the floor that's only supposed to happen once? I don't want to feel like I'm abusing it. And we do want this guard's key here. Is there? Okay. It would appear there is not some kind of pickpocketing skill, as the theft skill is purely for opening containers, disarming traps, that sort of thing. Did I see traps? I'm not even sure it mentioned traps, to be honest. Oh. Was it the man in the cell along this hall? This individual? Is that the person I'm getting sneaking experience from? When I'm within his detection range, but he clearly can't. I think it is. Actually, having that prisoner locked in an inaccessible cell is a very interesting way of the guards giving me frequent opportunities to gain sneaky skill experience in the early game. That is intriguing. And that is ominous looking. So this is... Whoa. I was going to say this is probably where that warden would... Why is that thing floating in the air near him? Or is it on the wall behind him? So this is some kind of post where the wardens would stay when they don't need to come down and beat and interrogate the prisoners. This is another... It's an arrow. It's an arrow. Okay. I'll take this key and these 4 coins. Okay, I can use a mouse wheel to scroll up and down these. Torn, worn. I don't think these are any better than I've got, but I can afford to carry them for now. Yes, these are of a similar quality. Beautiful Liliana in the Chamber of Ecstasy. Do I dare look at this? Okay. Okay, that's not too risque. Just about. Please, YouTube, don't make me restrict this, because that would be silly. I mean, to be fair, there's lots of blood and stuff in the... Okay, I'm not going to read that out now. Love apples. That is clearly a piece of fine literature for the guards to enjoy when they've got nothing better to do, apparently. Look, you know, like you go into like a car mechanics and they got all the old posters of like stripper girls on the walls and the calendars. So slightly different girl each month. Yeah, it's kind of like that, you know, these guards. I should have just left it on. It looks a bit freaky, actually. Still no lockpicks. Look, they clearly want us to do a lot of lockpicking in this game. A wooden club, I have one already. What I could have... There's 2 of them. What I could have done then is left the other one down there. I want this. And this. And this as well. I can rest in these bed bags, which are kind of like sleeping bags or papooses with really massive stitches. Ah, cooking pot. Can I cook? I can cook. I don't know how to. So I shall not for now. But it's nice to know there is a cooking option in the game. So, look, I was talking about those posters and wow, just that head. That head is like something. It's like the Gelflings from the dark crystal with 2 beach balls strapped up with like ribs that don't. Oh my goodness. Let's say it's a piece of art that showcases the enthusiasm of the artist rather than any actual talent. I'll have that, said Burglar Bill. Cooking for the Resistant, Part 1. Not resistance. Mashed potatoes, beggar's fare, simple meal, cabbage rolls, and onion bun, was that? Onion bun, that sounds terrible. Simple recipes from simple ingredients. Author Milreed Auntie Frizzle. Not everyone was born with perfect taste buds or culinary sensitivity. If you belong to a group of such individuals, don't worry. Here I am, Auntie Milreed, coming up with an initiative for those with an exceptionally dull taste in food. As I often repeat, some things are made to be eaten at fancy tables and others to scrape off the floor. Nevertheless, this is certainly no reason to be ashamed. What is this, stand-up soup? So called because you can stand the spoon up in it and it stays there and doesn't fall over. When I was a student, stand-up soup was my speciality. I was a rubbish cook early on. It took me a long time to get semi-decent. For a moderate hunger, try serving yourself what is commonly known as beggar's fare. Certainly very popular among people, well, people like you. All you need is groats, oats, and a pot of boiling water. Once again, let me emphasise, in case you're not sure what I mean, the boiling water bubbles. An equally simple alternative could be mashed potatoes. If you're feeling particularly comfortable with a knife, you could try peeling the potatoes, trying to remove the thinnest possible layer of skin with delicate moves. However, this is not necessary. Throw the potatoes in the boiling water as above and wait about 20 minutes. No, about half an hour. Come on. Seriously, lady. Pour off the water, please don't drink it. Then add some milk, optional. You can use margarine instead. Don't overdo it with this one. And you don't want your mashed potatoes to turn into a starchy and milky mush, do you? Wait. Literally, she doesn't tell you to mash them. It's just like boil them, add some milk, and that's it. No, you mash them. You mash them up. You get like a fork or something. Yeah, I'll take that. I may need to look at it again later. I probably... Oh my goodness, there's more of them here. That's the one from the book. This is... That's more like a... You know that Leonardo picture of a man with like his arms out in different positions and legs in different positions to show like proportions and anatomy and stuff? The circle here reminds slightly of that, except there's no different positions. She's just kind of standing there like... Bleh. That's more like a drum than a barrel, but it's not fastened on. Interesting. Right. So I have recipes. Cabbage rolls, mashed potatoes, where is it? Beggar's fare, simple meal, onion bun. It is onion bun. Why would you make a bun out of an onion? That's just... Ugh. That is bad. Alright, okay, is there some kind of... I think there's a cooking skill as well, isn't there? So if we get some ingredients, let's go sneaking again, because we can. That man in the prison cell won't know where we are. This particular individual stayed in the cage for far too long. And we cannot search his bones for anything precious. Right. Oh, with the arrow in his eye, I should have just not taken his stuff. The blood would make it all stiff and uncomfortable, and it would be very nasty to wear. I'd have to clean it if I wanted to sell it. Right. These doors are non-interactable. Look, the man came down these stairs, he let us out. We can't go back up that way. Clearly it is unthinkable. We cannot countenance attempting to pass through this portal. And here upon this shelf there's a big jar. Copy of the 7 Commandments. Is it all just copies of the... It is. Not a great variety in reading literature, is it? Devil's Snare. Probably to be used in alchemy, crafting potions. I could just stand up and walk along this corridor, and I think I will. I think I've gained enough sneaking experience for now. I don't think I'm avoiding any kind of dreadful foe who means to do me in by being so sneaky. I think it's just the man in the prison cell there giving us experience. By virtue of his inaccessible unlocked door. Well, inaccessible unlockable. Inaccessible interior behind the unlockable door. Let us now use the guard's key to enter into this chamber. And close the door behind us, obviously. Look, it's a shield, I'm taking it. That shield... Okay, no, it's wood grain. No, it's not. It is runic inscriptions upon it, line after line. Going counter to the grain, interestingly. Okay, some sage, honey, peppermint, moonshine, a lot of moonshine. A casket, no lockpick still, milk, flour, salt. So I can literally go, oh, potatoes. That looks like wood chips, like grain, like rice in these sacks. That does not look like potatoes. And groats. Groats. Anything else? No. Ah! We're gonna Skyrim this every single sack in a pile of sacks, even if there's just like a little bit of a corner poking out, must be checked. Oh, we're gonna be making food. Oh yeah. We do not want to look like that horrible bugger. We're totally going to do this. Yeah, take that off. Ah, awesome. Okay, nice. Yeah. We don't need to look like no fug. Get a bit of decency. Much better. I mean, not as protective. Oh, that's medium. So what we're doing by doing this is spreading our experience among two skills, right? Because we got medium boots, medium trousers, or light trousers, because under status I got 13 light armor, 10 medium, so arguably, right, it would be nice to build a little more medium experience though, and maybe even some heavy if we get the chance. Oh yeah, speaking of which, why can't I want this, right? Where is my shield? Okay, good, it did just go there. So what I want to do, switch to 1. I can't select the shield. That is mildly annoying. It would be nice to be able to, so add the shield. And then to this one, we'll add the healing spells, a backup, right? Excellent. Looking, apart from some massive shield clipping there, we're looking ever so slightly more durable already. Hopefully that'll get fixed at some point later on. Now, I see this, I see all these things. An old letter and a lockpick at last, finally. I bet it's single use. Hello. Why did it say we have 10 suddenly? Right. My dear Martin, I have finally arrived at the island asylum and have received my preliminary medical examination. Father Vaughan said that my symptoms point to the very early stages of the Red Death, and that I did very well to come here out of my own will, like. He promised to do everything in his power to help me to make sure our son, I write son because I can feel with each heartbeat that it is him, Martin, is born healthy. I know you had doubts about me coming here, but I really am of good cheer. I will keep you up to date on my progress. I hope to see you soon. I love you and miss you very much. Forever yours, Katrin. P.S. I'm thinking of the name Llewellyn. What do you like? How do you like it? This letter is in here. It was never sent. Meaning the priests had no intention of informing her loved ones or family, and were just like, okay, no, sure, you can write a letter, we'll deliver it for you, and then they didn't. 10 lockpick. Oh no, price 10. So we just have one. We have plenty of cooking items here. Okay. $7 coins. Sure. Obviously, I'm now going to head towards one of these prison cells. I think we know what that book on the table in there is. But there's someone here I would desperately like to free. Okay, I'm going to go... Okay, that worked. That person is a dead person. That head is not a healthy head. There's a big hole in the back of it. This is clearly not the I'm not going to take body parts. Ah, true. Oh, hello. More ingredients. Treatment records. Number 1. The patient seems to be responding well to the initial treatment. While the physical symptoms of the Red Death have not lessened, it appears that we have made some progress regarding his mental state. I have decided to expedite the treatment by introducing black henbane, applied transdermally. We will start with small doses. The patient will be required to record his dreams in a designated journal. Isn't henbane a poison? Or part of a poisonous ingredient? Transdermally. Dermal is the skin, isn't it? So, injected in it's like changing, transforming, going through. So injected into the skin. Number 2. The patient shows tremendous signs of progress. In fact, the patient shows tremendous progress. However, what concerns me are his intense reactions and how prone he is to panic. I will have to introduce a mild calming agent. I hope that a relaxed state will allow him to open his mind without fear. Number 3. The patient's spirit appears to be weaker than initially assessed. After he wakes up, he enters a brief catatonic state or cowers in the corner muttering to himself. Number 4. After last night, the patient became fully catatonic. He will not move, does not react to stimuli, and will not take food or water. There is nothing to be done. Death appears to be the most merciful solution. I will then perform an autopsy to evaluate potential changes in the patient's brain. Still, there must be something to be learned from all of this. And it would appear the autopsy was done right here in the corner. They didn't like lay him out on a table and open him up carefully. They just like hacked a great big hole into his head, sort of U-shaped, almost like a horse. It's a hoof or a horseshoe. Weird. The ramblings of a weary mind. Oh, do these coincide? Yes, 1, 2, 3, and then no 4, right? Number 1. The dark nights here are endless. Everything breathes and calls crisply. A red monk came and put fire in my chest, but I knew it was a good thing. Number 2. The first and only king visited me the night before. Arthur wept, then reached to me with his hands, not 2, but 4, like a foredweller. Never closer to the king's grace. Then he disappeared. Number 3, the one that made him fully catatonic. The bleeding heart of the plague beats in frantic despair. 1, 2. 1, 2. I hear its rhythm from behind the wall. I know it. I feel it. 1, 2. 1, 2. Organic machinery that created this place and these people. Put your ears to the walls and listen. 1, 2. 1, 2. Listen. And then it stopped. I'm not sure how this... Oh, he had a copy of the 7 Commandments near as well. I'm not sure how it entirely relates... Oh, lockpick, yes. How many now? Still a value of 10, so I don't think I'm losing the lockpick. It could break if we fail to open a lock, so I don't want to take too many risks. This one's just inaccessible. And there are other doors down the way that I would like to... Well, they're gates really, aren't they? Okay, so that uses... Okay. So... Alt is a... Alt is... If I'm moving in a direction, Alt is a short dash, and Sprint is a regular run. So Alt may be our dodge button. Very easy. So if I try... No. That looks like it worked. Look, we got experience and a skill, okay, and experience and skills has got to be helpful. Oh, hello. That looks particularly unpleasant coming out of the mouth of that individual. That could be a symptom of the red plague. I do not read the sigils of these red priests. They mean nothing to me. That looks very unhealthy and some kind of transformation. So the knee becomes not digitigrade, because that's where like the ankle's backwards for some animals, isn't it? But it's like a double knee joint there, and it grows weaker and shrivels, pointing at the flesh shriveling here, growing weaker, and the lower leg and the calf muscles disappearing, and then the knee bending, the knee doing something more to pull it up as the foot shrivels and weakens until the whole thing could just kind of turn to this. Looks like roots. That looks horrific. I mean, that happening to anyone would be really nasty. Autopsy report on subject 17. I drilled a burr hole into the left temporal bone, so that's part of the skull. The skull appears to be full of thick, partially coagulated blood. I opened the skull by removing the calvaria, then I drained out the unnatural excess of fluid. I sawed through the cerebral falx using Morgane's cut. I severed the nerves and the brainstem. This is an autopsy, right? It was done after the person died. It's like, if you severed the nerves and the brainstem when they were alive, that would be really horrific. I lifted out the brain. Its shape is abnormal, swollen as if it burst from the inside. I made incisions in the venous sinuses and separated the putamen from the bone. The base of the skull is intact. I placed the brain in a mixture of alcohol and cedar oils for further examination. Don't tell me I need that alcohol for cooking. Oh, I was going to go cook. It's got more... This actually, these... Oh, I'm getting Shadows of Esperon vibes now, actually. Shadows of Esperon, rather. Yeah. So a heart. I'm not taking that. If we didn't read the note on the door down there about the heart being a bad thing to put in a healing potion, I might have somehow thought that the heart would make a healing potion, and so there are things here I should not take. There's a basket, I'll take that, especially as it seems empty. That looks like it's just a bloody rag that was used to clean surgical knives. Because I can't take it. Fish oil may have its uses. I don't just mean like omega-13. Alright. This is again... So, these mutations look similar to what was on the Red Knight, who's part of the board game, where he's partially infected, but the infection hasn't fully developed yet. As I said, he's like a leper, sort of. Let's try and get a few more of these open then. This is not very easy, this is only easy. Listen, there may be things in here that will be of great use to us. I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that. Nor that. Or that. Experimental treatment report. I'm sure this is all incredibly unethical in this time period. And nobody cares because they just don't tell anyone. I received 3 patients suffering from mild symptoms of the Red Death. With this batch, I decided to test a new treatment derived from creatures touched by weirdness. Over the course of the last week, the patients were all given weird beast bone meal mixed in with their food. The results were as follows. Patient number 1. I found that he was actually suffering from typhoid rather than Red Death. I burned the body. Patient number 2. By the 3rd day, she started behaving erratically, scratching at the walls, pulling her hair, and screaming incoherently. I hope she wasn't the one who wrote a letter home. She could very well be. On the 5th day, it was like some inhuman force possessed her. She pulled the chains that were holding her off the wall, and she started to bend the iron bars of her cell apart. Fortunately, her heart gave out before she managed to escape. I may learn more from the autopsy. Patient number 3. The bone meal seems to have little to no effect. The disease is progressing at its usual pace, but the patient's mind appears intact. I will continue the treatment and monitor him closely. Conclusion. Despite the outcome, I do not deem this treatment a failure, especially in the case of a patient where the progression of the disease seemed to slow dramatically. If I could mitigate the adverse effects, I might get closer to finding a cure. I wonder if the Red Priest who was performing these experiments discussed this with the other priests first, or just did it all on his own initiative. I'm taking these bottles because if I'm going to make potions I may very well need them. Do not need these things. They might be useful for some other potion recipes. Ah, we lost one, finally. Very Skyrim indeed. Okay, this is a good sort of reasonably Celtic symbol. And here, probably a sign of a Red Priest, to be honest. Something to look out for in future. Markings on the wall. That Drowner tongue. Aren't the Drowners monsters from the Witcher games? Monster Blood? Probably shouldn't have taken that. Medic's measuring tool and amputation knife. I hope I have no need of these. But there may be financial gain to be had. just not going to touch that, I think. That's like, blah, it goes. Notes on weirdness, mutations. Hey, we've seen that picture on another wall in here. 1. The mutational changes are not significant, although they span the internal organs. The heart enlarged to the size of 2 adult fists, increased pulmonary function, etc. Among the contents of the stomach are remains of undigested human flesh, most probably belonging to the deceased, visible bite marks on his arms. Number 2. Mutation area overall. An amalgamation of human and porcine internal organs. Yes, this does look rather like a pig, doesn't it? A 2-chambered stomach with significantly increased capacity. An unnatural tissue fusing the hooves with the body. The heads joined together in shape worse than any nightmare. Van. It's fucking van. It's not Ven, you stupid Americans. God, that is a spelling mistake, and it's an annoying one. I'll take a screenshot of that. So that is rather like a pig's hoof. As 2 heads. Is it like one head pulled over another with the second one coming out here like a human mouth and like pig's snout and pig's head? That could be what it is. Interesting, bizarre, and very, very weird. Oh, and those skulls. The extra eye socket. It could be a space for a horn, but it looks like it may be a four-dweller skull, and that looks like a small human skull, almost like a child. This one appears slightly bigger. But anyway, I'm starting to think, looking at the time, I should probably wrap this one up soon. Now, developments may not... medium. Okay. Huh. I was experimenting gently and almost expecting it to fail completely. Right. I was going to try and pick up this cloth. I've been playing too much War Tales recently. I was going to pick up the cloth to try and make some armor padding with it. Okay, so we've got a skeleton manacled to the wall. One arm still partially through the shackles. Okay, no, that is fingers, fragments of a hand. I kind of wanted to zoom in bottom there for some strange reason. Another big bottle. We see the same mutant. Lots of skulls. They've been experimenting on a lot of skulls here. That is not nice. Father Vaughan's notes. Oh, this was her. Catherine. Subject number 037. Which means that while she was only the 37th one, they were anticipating going into the hundreds. It also means this might have been quite some time ago, depending on how long this place has been open. Name? Catherine Guiscard. Sex? Female. Age 22. Constitution short. Skinny. 7 months pregnant. Symptoms. Typical of a Red Death. Pale red spots on the face, neck and arms. Cause of death? Childbirth. That's 2 months premature. Notes. Exposure to weirdness might have altered the woman's psyche. Anger outbursts, melancholia. Also the fact that you never delivered her letter home to her husband. And that she might have expected to hear back from him by now. And we don't know how pregnant she was when she got here, right? If she arrived 7 months pregnant or like just 2 or 3. As for physical alteration, the fetus seemed to be much more affected by weirdness from the mother, as if it absorbed it all. After the first standard session, the fetus started to grow rapidly. After the second session, its mass had tripled. It needed to be extracted from the womb. The mother did not survive the procedure. The torso and head of the fetus were unnaturally overgrown, but its limbs were weak and flabby. Despite its monstrous appearance, it turned out to be of good viability. More research on subject number 038 to follow. Meaning they were going to do experiments on the baby as well. On a baby that had just been born. That's wrong. That's really very wrong. so many... Right. I do wonder if the progress becomes... We got experience for dodging on our own with nothing attacking us. So we're getting sneaking experience for sneaking when nothing is observing us, when there's nothing to hide from. Maybe that should change a bit. Or it's just a way of saying you want to be a really sneaky character, you just build up your practice now. If this doesn't seem to be related to character level, then we could definitely very much power these if we wanted. We're not getting experience for merely wearing the armor though. Just as we are for sneaking around where there's nothing watching us. So, alcohol and sage. Do I have... Sage, I do. Excellent. I need a lab key. What I can do is leg it up here and do some cooking. Why is that door not open? Ah, I've been in there before. Yes, let's go up to the naked man on the chair, past the naked man in the hall. Look, they're both dead. And ignore the nasty pictures on the walls that are very crude. Some cabbage rolls. Interesting. Simple meal. So we don't have everything for this or this. Do some mashed potatoes. Come on. E. Okay. Yeah, we got plenty of the ingredients for those. And why does the cabbage rolls need some kind of sort of meat? Weird. And I suppose we could experiment as well, putting things together and see what we make. Did we gain any cooking experience? We did. Excellent. Not a lot of it, mind. But some. If I run a lot, will I get running experience, like the athletics or acrobatic skill, whatever it's called? I got an autosave when I hit that corner, I noticed. Oh, no. I am gaining experience. Alright. That is a skill we might want to look into improving then. Wish I'd gone with a more original name for the character. Maybe on a future playthrough. I want this key. And I suspect it may lie down here, guarded by a first combat enemy. But this episode has gone on quite long enough, and that'll be something to look forward to in the very next episode. I'm going to leave this one here. I hope you've all enjoyed it, and I will see you all again soon. I'm going to say goodbye for now, though. Cheerio, everyone. See you all next time.